President's University, Indonesia. So the question was, from your point of view, following the Tigray conflict, which status is still ongoing? Has this status changed a strategic economic relationship between Indonesia and Ethiopia?
Okay, so in that every country in the world, and problems, right? But universally, everybody in the world, right, would like to solve the problem peacefully, right? And about what happened in Ethiopia, if you mentioned about the Tigray issue, we respect to what the government of Ethiopia has been doing to solve these problems. And I think it will not disrupt, it will not affect the cooperation between our two countries in politics and economy and social and culture.
Thank you, Ambassador. Next, we have a question from Randy from President University as well. And a question for Mr. Bekele and for Mr. Dubale. So he mentioned that based on your view about the book, what do you think is the most important point that you find and think that it must be read by youth of Indonesia and Ethiopia? So maybe we can start off from...
Thank you very much. I found the book from the beginning to the end very important and valuable, but to emphasize on the most important aspects of the book, it gives us about the beginning of a diplomatic attachment between Ethiopia and Indonesia, which was historical more in 1955 on Bandung Conference, and following that, Indonesia and Ethiopia crossed numerous roads to establish friendly relationship and strong diplomatic attachments. And so many Indonesian companies are working in Ethiopia, as you can observe from numerous industrial parks, and at least 3 or 4 companies are working in Awasa Industrial Park. That shows strong market attachment, and you do have, actually Indonesia has a strong products which are dominating Ethiopian market, like B55 and Indomie and other products are penetrating Ethiopian market. That is one of the most important things. And the two countries are commenting, that is linguistic and ethnic diversity, which was pointed out in the book. And so two countries have a lot to share together, because as we all know that Indonesia has the strongest democracy, as learned from my ambassador here, and so that culture, that kind of governance system has to be entertained here in Ethiopia if things are low, and Indonesia has also a strong market opportunity, and the same is true here in Ethiopia. So those connections, market connections, and the business opportunities need to be capitalized, and those things are included in the book. And there is also an important move that ambassador has been trying to open an opportunity for scholarship and education opportunity for Ethiopian students, and to bring Indonesian students to Ethiopia. And I think recently he has been in Jima, and before that he has been in Arwamenge, and a lot of things have been proceeding, and so those things are some of the things that we would like to emphasize. And another issue, there are biggest tourist destinations in Indonesia, like Bali and other parts of the country. The same is true here in Ethiopia. We do have long sustaining churches like Rockwind Church in Lalibela, the Aksum, and many other, the Gondar facilities, and many other tourist destination areas. Those things need to be capitalized, and Indonesian tourists can visit Ethiopia, and Ethiopians can do as well. So these are some of the things that ambassadors' work has gave much attention, and that's all. And my friend Dr. Bekele can add more.
Okay, almost he raised a very good point. So add few One thing that use of Indonesians can learn or can get is just they can get the true picture of Ethiopia, the whole issue that reflects the reality of Ethiopia. They can just get as a first-hand information. It's not like secondary, just as a first-hand information that enables them to get the true picture. The other one is they may get how the duty of ambassador, apart from those high-level duties like negotiation, agreement, promoting the country, and writing this book, it shows the hard effort, the high management of ambassador. So they can learn from their ambassador that they can just promote their country by managing their time, by committing themselves. Since everybody lives once on this earth, such type of contribution, I think that not only Indonesians, we Ethiopians learn from His Excellency Ambassador, especially the way he manages time, his positiveness, his connectivity, his networking, especially the focus he gives for the youth to connect Ethiopia Indonesian youth, even through elementary schools, is something amazing that we learn from that. So I want to again appreciate his conviction in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
If I may add about this book, I should say this, and I believe my brother, Professor Amatsu, also knows that because he has a lot of experience to get in touch with the people in Indonesia, with many background friends in Indonesia, the businessmen, the academicians, even the politicians and artists and so on. I think starting from this point, I think this is also triggered me to do more here during my tenure here in Addis Ababa. That in Indonesia, at least before I landed here and arrived here in Addis Ababa, correct me, my brother Ambassador Matsu, more than 90% of Indonesians. More than 90% of Indonesians did not know Ethiopia updated version, the situation of the current situation in Ethiopia, about the development, about the progress in the economy, and social and culture and education and so on. And most of the, I can say that around 90% of Indonesians, they thought that Ethiopia still look like what it was in 1984, in 1986, because there are very limited information, not updated. First, limited information. The second, not updated information about Ethiopia, hovering around in Indonesia. There are a lot of very difficult to find the news about Ethiopia, about what happened in Ethiopia, about what happened, the diplomatic relation about between Indonesia and Ethiopia. Very, I can say that, not easy to find it in Indonesian media. Maybe my friend Professor Amas can add about it. So that's why the flow of the information, the current situation, the current development, especially in economy and social and culture, about Ethiopia, we have to increase it. We have to shower Indonesian community, Indonesian people about the development in Ethiopia. So I think this book is one of the target of I have to write it. I have to write it, and then people in Indonesia can read it, and also people in Ethiopia can read it, and vice versa. As far as based on my experiences, because as my colleagues mentioned earlier, I visited government and non-government offices, institutions a lot in Ethiopia. I visited campuses. I visited even there are some friends here, the youth organization leaders here. I knock the door, I knock the office to introduce myself. Listen to them. What should the best should be, doing to our countries. And I know there are a lot of, the vast majority of Ethiopia knows about Indonesia in economic, in tourism, as mentioned by my friends, also the reviewer. They know. But the other difficulties, challenges here in Ethiopia is that they know Indonesia, but they don't know how to create the stronger and the closer relation, how to open the door, how to make the bridge, right? From Addis Ababa to Jakarta. So my colleagues, my ambassador at Masu and me trying to build the new bridges, try to open the new windows. And with that, our friends in Ethiopia, our friends in Indonesia can shake hands, can get together and establish their cooperation in economic, social and cultural education and so on and so on. And thanks God, here, 2.5 years I've been here, I got a lot of and full support from all friends of, in Ethiopia to support my programs, my project together with my colleagues here at the Embassy of Indonesia, because we cannot do it by ourselves. We need a friend. We need someone who really support us to implement, to work together to make our nations closer and stronger and beneficial for all. And another thing that I'd like to stress on this forum, this is also based on referring to my book, is that the power of the connectivity is very important. The power of knowledge, the power of information, very important. So what I've been doing here is that just not making friends with government and non-government, but also create a lot of projects with the government and non-government. Based on my experiences in Indonesia, I was a director of a public diplomacy about 5 years in Indonesia. 70% of the success of the public diplomacy goes to the hand of the non-government actors. If the G2G relations, government to government, as an ambassador and Professor Atmasu, my colleague, also ambassador in Jakarta, and then the ambassador here. If I like to get in touch with the people or the government officials in our countries, that's easy. Actually, they have to welcome us, they have to receive us, and then we have a communication. But making friends with non-government officials, we need extra effort. We need extra effort. So the power of the connectivity between nations, between Ethiopia and Indonesia, we need to improve it. We need to create it together, not alone. And thanks to my fellow friends in Ethiopia, the young, the youth organizations, business organizations, and also the academicians, campuses. Thank you very much. And then I like to, I need your support. I need your positive, thinking about the importance of the people-to-people contact. People-to-people contact will make everything, better and stronger. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Your Excellency, and also our guest of honors. I hope we have other questions as well. Next question would be from Andy Kilang, who's a CEO owner of PT Pernigan and PT Vamos Tours. So his question was, I believe it's in
that is in Indonesian language, yes. From Pak Andy Kilang, right? From Pak Andy Kilang. He said that what is the step that you can, the strategic step that you can take to increase the cooperation, bilateral cooperation on the trade, export, tourism, investment. What I've been doing here. Okay, Pak Andi, is it Pak Andi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So since my arrival here, I think only 1 or 2 months after my arrival here, I started, you know, I expand my connectivity with the business community, among others. Right. So in front of me now is I have a friend. His name is Ahmed, but now he is the member of the Parliament of Amhara. I know him, and I asked him, please bring me to your region. I like to meet the businessmen around the region. And the same thing also I did to many other friends from the different region, beside in Addis Ababa, of course. In Addis Ababa, I have a lot of friends. I got in touch with the Chamber of Commerce in Addis Ababa and also the Chamber of Commerce of Federal of Ethiopia. So I have a lot of, what do you call it, I'm not waiting them in my office. That is the main key. If I said that, that is the main secret. I'm not waiting for friends coming to me at the Embassy of Indonesia. I came to them. I knocked the door. I called them and I visited them. I have lunch with them. I invited them to come to my embassy, and then we talked. This is the way that, among other things, the way that I established the communication and the connectivity with our friends in Ethiopia. This is also some things that happened very funny, you know. I asked my staff, please give me the list of the organization of the business community or youth community and so on and so on. And then tell them I like to come to that office just to know them, right? And then I think about the two of them, three of them, I think. They told me through my staff. Oh, my friends, that is not common for us to welcome the ambassador in our office, because our office is very, very modest, right? So not very good for the ambassador to welcome the ambassador. And then, meaning that they are not willing to welcome me. They were not willing to welcome me to come to visit the office. And then I asked my staff, please tell them, if they are not welcome me as the ambassador, please tell them, could you please welcome one of the Indonesian citizens, national, who live in Addis Ababa. His name is Al Bushra Basnur, it's me. And then, not ambassador, just Indonesian citizens. Just please welcome them, and then if you are thinking the ambassador is too high to come to visit your office, and then we made it. We made it. That is, among others, what they did. And about the trading, also, as I already explained by my colleagues, that a number of the Ethiopian businessmen visited Indonesia. They participated in, among others, the Trade Expo Indonesia in 2019. And also some Indonesian businessmen came. I invited them to come to Ethiopia. Pandemic is matter for everybody, not only for Indonesia and Ethiopia. And it is, I have to admit that this process is a little bit slow, but we are still, you know, we hope that the opportunities and the potential is still there. And that's about the trading. And about the tourism. On 24th of December, here, exactly in this place, we organized the meeting here, Hexathon, right? We have a we collaborate with the Oromia Trade Commission. We are going to share our experiences, Indonesian experiences, with our friends, Ethiopian experiences, how to develop Ethiopia in the tourism sector. As my colleagues at the beginning, Professor Atmasu, Ambassador, already explained about how big the potential the cooperation between our two countries, including in tourism, right? So last week I visited a number of places in Ethiopia, and it really triggered me to to push the better cooperation in tourism between Ethiopia and Indonesia. Ethiopia is a very beautiful country. There are a lot of tourist destinations, excellent lakes, mountain, valley, and whatever. And as we know that Ethiopia is landlocked country, no sea, no beach, but they have a lot of lakes and very beautiful. So in short, the cooperation between trade and the economy, there are a lot of things that we can do. And again, for that, I ask you, especially the one who asked me, raise the questions, you better read this book as soon as possible. So the answer is everything is there in this book, right? So must read the book. My friend already said that must read the book. Actually, whatever your question, I believe the answer is in this book. So I will share with you later on about how to get this book. Anyway, thank you very much, my friend from Indonesia.
Thank you, Ambassador. Just to bring it up, the entitlement of the book is Do What to Do, Ethiopia, Do What to Do, Ambassador.
Yeah.
Next, we have a question from Mr. Okay, so the question would be for Mr. Dubala and for Mr. Bakala. Her name is Claritel Angelina, and from President's University. She said that, from your point of view, is there any chance that we can improve the Indonesia and Ethiopia's relation in the term of literature, maybe sharing how to speak each other's language? And the second question would be about the exposure of the Ethiopia's culture to the Indonesia or even the world. Is there any room for more exposure?
Yes, two things can be mentioned here. The first thing, in regard to language, we can learn each other. There is multiple platforms. I myself started learning Bahasa Indonesia, and that's why I speak few words. Still, I'm just energetic to increase my vocabulary and to have communication. In Indonesia, of course, Bahasa Indonesia is the simplest language. If I'm not mistaken, to me, it's very simple. And I came to know some of the vocabularies and the words. And so we can even expand that kind of language exchange program by opening schools and creating online platforms. And we can learn each other because Amharic is also simple. And I'm learning from YouTube. There are excellent Indonesian teachers that teach us Bahasa Indonesia, and the same can be applicable for the case of Amharic. And doing that, we can enhance our language competency, and then we can easily communicate each other. And coming to the second question, knowing cultures of the two countries, intercultural communication and student exchange or cultural exchange can be easily done, and the ambassador's attempt is already there to have a student exchange between two countries, and similar things can be taken. And by the way, language is part of culture, which is part of culture, and knowing the language, you are there to know the culture of two countries, and we will hopefully create online and offline platforms to know each other, and that will be remaining our future task. And I promise in this regard, I can take my share, and others will also do. So that in that way we can solve the problems.
Okay, to add just a few points, especially in sharing literature, His Excellency Ambassador are connecting Ethiopian universities with Indonesian universities. So in this regard, not only sharing literature, I think even we can develop a project together, working together, researcher from Indonesia and he from Ethiopia. Yes, we can work together, share experience, and do something that benefit the two universities or the two nations. So I think we do have a bright opportunities to be connected and achieve success in this regard. Thank you.
May I add about this? Actually, I have a lot of things in my mind, but I try to make it as simple as possible. Learning foreign language, that's very important. Right? Very important. Everybody I believe agree with me. One thing that we have to keep in mind, please ask yourself, why should I learn the language from the particular country? Why should I learn Indonesian language? Why should I learn Ethiopian language? The answer is that because I have the interest. Don't say that because I go to Ethiopia as a tourist, because I go to Indonesia as a tourist. No need. As a tourist, no need to learn a foreign language. But you need that country. And you know about that country. That will trigger you to learn the language from that country. And what about Indonesian language? What about Ethiopian language? Why should Indonesian learn Ethiopian language? Why should Ethiopian learn Indonesian language? We have to establish. First, we have to get to know about that country. I know my wife, and then I fall in love with her. Right? You know someone, and then you fall in love with them. You will not learn foreign language without knowing that country, without understand the country, about the potential, about the the strength of the particular country. So, before learning Ethiopian language, Indonesian language, we have to know each other about the potential of the cooperation. And then you need this book again, right? Because the information is out there, right? Is there. And then, again, that's good. Thanks God, because the relation between Indonesia and Ethiopia already established since very long time, and we have a lot of friends, Indonesian and Ethiopian, who already know each other. For your information, my friends in Indonesia and also in Ethiopia, until now we have almost 100 alumni of Ethiopian students studied in Indonesia, or among others, this my friend Amero, right? Not study, but short program in Indonesia. So there are a lot of Ethiopian now able to speak Indonesian language for the daily communication, because they stay there for about 2-3 years, sometimes 4 years. So they got in touch with the local community and they learned local, language. I mean Indonesian language, and they came back to Ethiopia. What we do here, I invited them to the embassy regularly, and I don't speak English with them. I speak Indonesian language with them. So this is also one of the way we keep up with, to maintain the Indonesian language with them. And then, for your information, my friends, until now, non-Indonesian students studying at the University of in Ethiopia not yet. But we already have, as I mentioned, my friends, Bekele, we have a number of the project cooperation between universities. This is also one of the pillars, one of the media through what we can learn language and culture each other. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and thank you for the question as well. Since we're running out of time, I would like to apologize because we're only going to have one more question, and but would like to also say thank you for the participants who were asking questions. So proceeding to the last question. She mentioned that her name was Fermi from Presidential University, and she wants to ask His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, which sectors of diplomacy does Indonesia and Ethiopia work together in? And she would like to kindly additional ask that if this book launching strengthens ties between Indonesia and Ethiopia as well.
Yeah, we talk about the cooperation, the collaboration between the universities. In 2016, that was the first time, the first MOU between universities in Indonesia and Ethiopia, between Bahir Dar University and 11 Maret University in Surakarta, right? So that was the first one. And 2018, my colleague Professor Masu the ambassador of Ethiopia in Jakarta, already invited a number of the delegation from Ethiopian universities to come to Indonesia and met with IPB, ITB, right? And then they already got in touch with a number of the collaboration. And in the last 2 months, I visited a lot of universities in Ethiopia. So I saw that there are a lot of interest. There are a lot of universities from Ethiopia who would like to establish a cooperation with Indonesian universities, and in Indonesia as well. At least as of now, in my list, there are about 6 universities who would like to establish a cooperation with Ethiopian universities. They would like to come to visit Ethiopia, and also Ethiopian university would like to visit Indonesia, but still they're pending because of the pandemic. I hope that next year this kind of the cooperation between universities will come to the reality, right? And also the other kind of the cooperation in economic, for instance. And in 2019, at least 3 companies from Indonesia would like to come to, came to Ethiopia, and they would like to establish the, the factories, investment in Ethiopia, but still now in the process. And in 2020, and also this year, 2021, I contacted by many Ethiopian businessmen. They would like to come to Indonesia to see partners, and also to attend the Trade Expo Indonesia, annual Trade Expo organized in Indonesia, the biggest expo, annual, biggest expo in Indonesia, but they cannot come physically. They participated through, virtually. And I think on 22nd of October, it means yesterday, we already opened the Trade Expo in Indonesia until the 5th of December, if I'm not mistaken. And many our friends, Ethiopian businessmen, would like to join virtually with our Trade Expo Indonesia. And besides about the youth-to-youth cooperations, I also would like to mention this. This is very important. On 11th of June 2019, we established the Indonesia-Ethiopia Youth Association. And on the same day, we organized Indonesia-Ethiopia Young Entrepreneurs Forum, which is already we organized it 3 times. So this kind of the cooperation is not only between the businessmen of Indonesia and Ethiopia, but also with the youth, young entrepreneurs. We connect them. Startup-based businesses. Also, that is a very important. They are growing here in Ethiopia and also in Indonesia. So now, what I have to do is that, what I have to ask you is that, please come together. Together we can. Together we can do things that might be impossible, but with the togetherness, we make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. And since we won't be proceeding for any further questions, we'd like to say thank you for all the participants for joining in, and also for our guests who have been here. And last but not least, I would like to invite all our guests for a group photo. And please let's go.
Where is that? Here? Maybe something down there?
Yeah,
okay.
down there would be.
Please join us together, my dear friends, young friends. Huh?
Holding the book.
We'll be also having the book signing after that.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Thank you.
Siapa tadi? Di Ebru? Ya, itu mana? Please join us at the back. Everybody join remember our third formula. Kasih buku baru, kasih bagian
Some of you could feel also this space to make balance. But some of you could also make oh yeah. Just could you please, because camera is yeah, you tutup pakai lens itu.
عملناش من ده لا من ده بس انت اندونيسيان تاهم كده من
So now we'll be likely to close this forum. I'd like to say thank you for everyone who participated and joined from everywhere that you have been joining. Thank you very much. And we also like to say thank you for our excellencies and friends and families who have been also part of this book launching. And finally, last but not least, I would like to say congratulations once again for launching your book, Your Excellency. And yes, hope you have a great day and a great afternoon as well. Thank you. For some people who haven't joined or who haven't gotten their books and copies, we'll be also giving out a signed book as well. For all of the participants in Zoom, could you please have your cameras on for a minute so that we can take a group picture also virtually as well? Thank you. Can you please proceed to turn your cameras on for participants on the Zoom? Yeah. Thank you. For those who have open, can you please turn the cameras on again? We're planning to take a group picture virtually as well. So for those who haven't turned on their cameras, in count to 3, can we have it on, and let's take a picture as well. So in the count of
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Which one?
All right.
Which one?
Yes.
The
The first one, please.
Yeah, the first one? No, it's second.
No, now it's okay, okay, page 2. Okay, okay. Page 2, can we have the cameras on as well?
Sorry?
And 1,
Page 2.
2, 3. Let's take a picture. Can we have the cameras on? Page 2. Okay. So for page 3, can we have the cameras on? And let's get ready to take a picture. In 1, 2, 3. Page 3.
Oh, udah.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Final? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.
Recording stopped.